Hey guys, how's it going? So, I hope you had a great Christmas slash new oh, fuck's sake. Hey guys, how's it going? So, I hope you had a great Christmas slash New Year, and I hope you enjoyed the war film. Sorry this video's out a little bit late. I've been working on a lot of different projects with a lot of different people, all of which I'm very excited to share with you very soon. Also, our trip to Oslo, we made a short documentary about that. That'll actually be coming out in 2 weeks' time from now. So this week what I'm going to be talking about is YouTube, and more specifically my YouTube inspirations and channels that kind of really affected me. For some context, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't do filmmaking. It was the accessibility of YouTube and seeing people that I kind of admired and related to and kind of understood on like some kind of like level. It was seeing them kind of produce things that inspired me and made me kind of really excited, that kind of got me into filmmaking. I think the film industry is a pretty inaccessible thing. You know, if you go to cinema and you see Transformers and you know nothing about the film industry, it's just so, you know, inaccessible as an individual. Like, how could I make Transformers? I can't. It's amazing, whatever, however you feel about it, but I as one person cannot make that. So it was fantastic for me growing up with YouTube, being able to see kind of these different creators produce different types of content, often by themselves or as part of a small team or on a low budget. So these are kind of the 11 YouTube channels and people that kind of affected me growing up and have inspired me in no particular order. First off, Charlie Is So Cool Like. I used to watch Charlie Is So Cool Like a lot. I think we're about the same age. I think he's a couple of years older than me. I'm pretty sure he was the first British YouTuber to get 1 million subscribers. And I remember seeing that and just being like, wow. Ever since then, I've kind of followed his stuff. Sadly, he doesn't kind of release content very often now, and it's quite inconsistent, but I'm a Charlie fan. I'll keep watching. That's ticked off my little list. The Midnight Beast. So, the Midnight Beast are if you don't know them, a group of singers, I don't know, kind of comedy, parody, whatever. Basically, they make songs that generally take the piss out of popular culture.
Except that we can't skate at all. But skating sounded
Their kind of rise to YouTube fame happened really quickly-ish when they released their video kind of TikTok Kesha parody. And I remember seeing that and just thinking it was really funny, subscribing, and have liked, even now, even though obviously they've got a lot more resources and quite a big kind of fan base, a lot of the time their videos are still shot like in their house, just as terribly as they were like 5 or 6 years ago or whatever. So I think they're great, I think they're really funny. Jacksgap. So the thing I'd say most kind of that inspired me most uniquely to Jacksgap is their branding. You look on their kind of page and the colors and everything, you look at it and it feels like a brand without being impersonal. And I think that's an incredible balance to strike, for it's something to feel professional and interesting and yeah, and just like a company, yet kind of small and intimate and genuine. And I think having a balance between those things is a real achievement, and that's kind of the most unique reason why I'm inspired by them. Bertie Gilbert. Bertie Gilbert is a filmmaker. He makes short films, and I wouldn't necessarily call him a YouTuber per se, but his short films are really good. I wouldn't say that he conforms to the usual YouTuber medium, new video every 2 weeks, woo, or whatever else, but I really like the content he posts and I look forward to seeing more from him. Philip DeFranco, used to be known as sxephil, massive fan back in the day. He was kind of the first person that I watched on YouTube that just talked. He talked about current affairs, his opinions on them, etc. I think he's a very well-rounded character, and to me that was fascinating that I could be entertained by someone just sitting there and talking. Bearing in mind, I was used to watching TV shows and films and stuff, and to just sit down and just listen to someone talk for 10 minutes when I had a very short attention span was amazing. It was really interesting to me. And so he's had a big effect on me in terms of the value of what you say over, you know, and the content over necessarily. Whoa, explosions! Tomsk, massive fan of Tomsk. I really like his sketches, really like his kind of attitude and outlook, and I really like his honesty. I think no matter how you look at him or his content or whatever else, I think looking at his vlogs and stuff, He strikes me, obviously it's impossible to say because I don't know him personally, but he strikes me as very, very honest, and I think that's something that kind of comes far and few between on YouTube. I think people fantasize on YouTube about presenting themselves as this person. This is me, this is what I am, and it's never quite that. And I think that's what it's interesting about him, is he's kind of like, these are all the really kind of horrible parts of me or whatever, and I don't like them and I want to change them and stuff, but you know, I appreciate that honesty. Whether or not that's real, no one ever knows. I think it's real. Nelsy Sxephil. Nelsy Sxephil, old school YouTuber, just fantastic, really, really funny, does some amazing stuff, really, really creative, doesn't fall into the, oh, I can make this and be really popular, so I'm just gonna keep making this forever. I think he's someone who strikes me, again, I don't personally know him, as someone who cares about what he makes as opposed to what he makes in terms of money. He was the guy that made Potter Puppet Pals. Awesome. Super inspiring. One of the first YouTube videos I loved and watched like 1,000,000 times.
Severus Snape.
Dumbledore.
Snape. Severus Snape. Snape.
Harry.
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 Snape.
Harry. Dumbledore.
Chewing Sand. This is Hazelhayes, female YouTuber who makes really, really good short films. I really love her stuff. I really love that her stuff is very narrative, story, character driven, which I think is something where YouTube can really, really lack at times. A lot of the short films on YouTube are terrible because there's no real character, there's no real story. It's just kind of like, whoa! And a lot of the acting on YouTube is terrible as well. So I think her short films, fantastic. So yeah, I really like her short films. Arian Bliss. So I came across Arian when he first started doing his kind of daily vlogs thing back in, you know, not too long ago now. And I just think they're fantastic. They're an incredible commentary on vloggers and YouTube culture, and it's very satirical humor. It's good. Recommend you checking it out, particularly if you're not a huge fan of this kind of very standardized ukulele music vlogging content. Kacey Neistat. So Kacey Neistat I've watched since he did the bike lanes video, which went viral a long time ago. I absolutely love his documentaries, massive, massive fan. I started making documentaries because I liked his documentaries so much, and because he was the first person that really got me excited about the documentary format, because up until then, I never found documentaries massively interesting as like a non-fiction format. But I think how he does it, I've always loved, and I'd really like to kind of develop my own style off the back of that idea of fun, exciting documentaries. I would say though that I really enjoy his vlogs and I watch his vlogs. I know most of you will probably know who Kacey Neistat is, but I mean, I don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, I preferred his old stuff. God, how do I say this without offending 1,000,000 people? No, it's difficult to say. I definitely preferred his old documentaries over his vlogs. The nice thing about vlogs is that you can watch it every day, and he used to spend like 3 weeks before he'd upload a new documentary. But to me, the documentaries were more inspiring. I think the vlogs are inspiring in terms of how he lives his life, and that's really interesting. He's a very fascinating character. He's very hardworking. He's got a very interesting mindset, but the content itself, like the actual format, to me isn't as interesting and isn't as exciting as his documentaries. Shoot me. That's my list, because down to my last one. My final YouTuber who I'm kind of like most inspired, was like originally inspired by, and 1,000,000 people would have said this, but it's Freddy W, Corridordigital, Brandon Latch, like all of those guys. A lot of them are now Rocket Jump, etc. I like loved their content. It was Freddy W's on that channel. That was what got me into filmmaking. Back in the day, I'd see his kind of like these cat videos and machine guns and all this like ridiculous, fun stuff that you'd never see in a TV show because it wasn't safe. It was kind of weird and wacky and like a combination of internet humor and action and nerdy stuff. And it was just, I just really, really loved it, and yet at the same time it was so accessible to me. I could understand how he made it, and it made me go out and make videos. Sure, they were Nerf war action videos that are more popular than my videos today, but honestly, seeing that as a kid And that's probably the most empowering thing to me is, as a kid, seeing somebody else make something that excited me, entertained me, was different, and I felt like I at least one day could make and understood how they made. That's what changed, that's what got me into filmmaking, and that's what, to me, YouTube is all about. Like that's what I think the purpose of YouTube is. That's the purpose of YouTube to me. I'm talking so much shit now. This is getting so pretentious. Well, thank you very much for sitting all the way through that, if you managed to. If you didn't, don't blame you. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be out with a new video in 2 weeks' time, and we have like loads of really, really exciting stuff on the way. I hope you guys are all, you know, having a good time. Haven't really got anything else to say. It looks like I'm scratching. It looks like I'm scratching my balls. I can see it on the monitor, but I'm not. I'm literally just scratching my stomach. Now I'm scratching my balls. Itself that actually got me interested in filmmaking, that made me want to be a filmmaker and decide that was, why is this video so terrible? Why can't I just talk? Oh, I love talking normally.